Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All Educational Videos channel. We are continuing with learning Scratch, we are continuing with making Scratch tutorials, learning Scratch blocks, and in this video today we are going to try to learn how and when to use Scratch block which is named Go Forward Layers. Okay, let's go to Scratch to see that in action. In last video we have added some kind of clones for our background and front. For background we have made clones of this tree here, and with this create clone of myself Scratch block, and we haven't made any code connected then when the tree starts as a clone, because we didn't need that. And for the bush we have used the same approach. We have made three clones of bush and make them change their color and hide if we are not on the first level. Okay, first of all I want to delete this say I'm clone. I don't need it anymore, so I will have a cleaner situation on my screen. And then second I want to go to looks, group of blocks, that's second group from the top, from above, and then go and find one of the last blocks in this group which says Go Forward Layers or Backward. What this Scratch block is doing to the sprite. Let's see that in action. If you have watched the previous video, you know that we have used this go to front or back layer when we have made these, I think, lava and acid. Yeah, I will first hide this bush and detach this create clone. So now there will be no more clones of bushes. Okay, so I will click on this acid and click on this show, and same with this lava and click on this show. So what I want to show you fast is that this go to back layer for lava and this go to back layer for acid, and this when I click on the cat and find go to front layer, what that means in the game. Game in the Scratch, and Scratch in total works in layers in terms of if you have more than one sprite on the screen, on the stage, then for example two sprites, then both of them can be on the same layer, not overlapping, or one of them can be over another. Like for example, this cat now is over the bush, it's over the acid, it's over the, and so on, it's over the butterfly and so on. So it's like closest to us. Sometimes you will need some of the sprites to be in the background, like for example I don't want this tree to be over my cat in front of it, I want it in the background. And sometimes you will need some of those to change the different to behave differently. Like for example I want in my game this bush to be in front of me, in front of the cat, not behind the cat, so I will have to change that. But we have used only this Scratch block so far, go to front or back layer. So the front would be the first layer closest to us, the one which we see first, and the cat is now in front of us, and lava and acid, they are on the back layer, they are behind. So when I click on the cat, on the flag to start the game, cat will be in front of the lava and it will be in front of the acid. Here is the lava, here is the acid. Cool. So sometimes you will you can do that simply like that. Like I have couple of sprites, couple of assets, enemies, characters on my screen. I want one of those to be in front like cat, and I want others like sprite and lava to be behind, so I can use like front and back layer only. Okay, that's cool. That works fine. We have learned that before. I just wanted to make a short and fast recapitulation. I will hide the lava and acid and go back to bush and reattach this. So what other problems you can have in your games? For example, if you have lots of sprites and you have idea to make some of them in front, some of them behind, not only with front and back, that's very simple, but more complex looks. Or for example, other example would be if you want to make perspective, like for example in this game we're not going to use it because our character can go only left and right like this, right? But for example, if you see how these planks, these wooden planks on this boardwalk, how they converge, how they're I will I will click on stage, I will click on backdrop, and then I will duplicate this one just fast to show you something like what I want to say. You can see how these lines are going into vanishing point, like they are converging. It's called convergence, I think, in English, but like they are all aiming at one point. That means that that's called perspective in real life and in drawing and in art. So if you want to represent some kind of I will use other color. If you want to represent some other color, some other object, for example sun here, no, this sun here is small, and we have some guy, some bush here. This is some ugly bush, but it's here, it's big, so it's closer to us, so it's big. So if it's behind a little bit, it will be smaller and smaller and so on. So that's just another case which I wanted to show you. We're not going to use that today in details in terms of we're not going to make those perspective games, but sometimes you will need to make that effect where you have perspective, where you have some objects closer to you which are bigger than one behind it. It's a little bit smaller and smaller and so on. So they are all converge into distance and become smaller and smaller. So you will use it, for example, in games like there was some kind of old, I think, karting games, racing games, where you have only like first person view and you have cars going to you and from you and become smaller and bigger. I will maybe make a tutorial on that game one day. Yeah, but today let's concentrate on our scratch game and cat. Okay, so you're going to use this go forward or backward. We said forward is when you want something to be closer to us, and backward in distance. Forward will be closer and overlapping backward, and that's the whole idea, and that's the whole logic there. Okay, so the problem here is how can I know how many layers should I go forward or backward? Well, that's the tricky situation. In most of the game engines you can see on which layer you are and define that and control that. I just cannot see that in Scratch, I'm sorry, but maybe it's because I don't know how to see it fast and easy. I will do more research on it, but as much as I have seen on the Scratch on the internet and Scratch Wikipedia, there isn't a fast and simple solution to see layers of your sprites on the screen. Like for example, cat is now on the first layer, butterfly is on the second, this bush is on the third, and so on, or vice versa, opposite. I don't know which one is on which one. I will have to keep the track of it on myself in some kind of other software, or pen and paper, or here in Scratch in some other way, but there isn't a simple way to say to click on the Scratch sprite and see on which layer it is. Simple as that. That's what Scratch programs should maybe add in the future. Okay, but let me for example, if I to show you faster what I mean, is if I make those bushes like here spaced out, you don't see them overlapping. So I will change now this change X to 20 instead 120 to see them overlapping, and you see how the first one starts in background, then this second green one I moved him, was second and overlapping the first, third one was overlapping the first and second, and the fourth one, the original one, was overlapping the all. Let's see it again. So that's cool. Maybe sometimes you will need something like this, but sometimes, as I said, when you have them in the perspective, you will need them one behind them. First, the closest. I want this indigo one to be the first, the closest to me, not the last, not the far away. So how to change it? The simple way would be adding this go backward one layer. So what are we doing here now? I am making 3 clones of fast on it. I made the first clone and I change X of it, and then I said go backward. And then I'll do this, sorry, because this repeat is going 3 times in a row. I said create clone, this is the first, the indigo one. Then I said go, the first one was the original, and then the original created clone of itself. So I created clone of myself, I created the indigo bush on the screen. Then I change my position, and then I go backward one layer. Then happened what? I again, because this repeat loops 3 times, again created clone of myself, and this time is the pink one. Because I have changed my X in previous step by 20, it will be a little bit to the right, and because I have gone backward one layer, it will be behind. So again, I hop to the 20 to the right, and then go backward, and so on and so on. So this will repeat, and you can see how fast you can go from behind to the front. So for example, if you want the first clone to be in the front, just go backward with every other next one, or if you want the first one to be behind, go forward with next one. So we are creating the next clone with this go forward. Now first one is behind, now first one is in front. Simple as that. And maybe I can actually show you fast how to use that perspective. Not sure if it will work, but let me try. I need to change Y, because I want my bush to change also now Y position. What is Y? Y is up and down. So I want my Y to go here, 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 so on. Let's try if this works. Yeah, simple as that. You can see how fast you can make very, very interesting and powerful sorry, very interesting and powerful results in Scratch, and you can see how you can make perspective games very, very fast. At least some point of some amount of those, some artwork for those. You cannot make a whole game like this with 2 clicks, but you can make some interesting and very, very important effect of it very, very fast. So yeah, I have added here. I will now redo this. Okay, and I will go back to basics with this. I will leave this code here in if someone needs it. Okay, but I will now do this. I have made this code before I shoot this video, but I haven't shown this, so I can just show this, and that's it, enough for this video. We have what I wanted to show here. That was the whole idea, more or less, with the problem of this game, or the problem which I have in this game right now, and that is when I go with the cat like this, left and right. That's cool. I'm in front of the trees. That's what I wanted to be my game like. But when I go closer to the viewer, to the player, I am over the bushes. Sometimes you will want that to look like that, but sometimes you won't like how it looks. For example, if I go from here to the bottom, I go straight over the bush, just like that, like I jumped over it. I don't like it. I want to be here behind the bush. So when I walk left and right here, I want to be behind the bushes. Okay, how to do it? We have just learned that with this go front and back layer. So and we have used that before. I need to do what? I am going to ask the cat I'm going to make the Scratch ask the question: is the cat touching the bush? That's our problem. That's where our problem is made, right here. Right, like if I'm touching the bush, I am in front of it. I want to say this: if the cat is touching the bush, go behind the bush. Simple as that. So because the problem is here, it's not the problem but the feature. Because I'm here now in the bush, I have to say if I'm touching the cat. If I was in the cat, I would say sensing blocks, touching the bush. Simple as that. But we are coding the bush now because we have a couple of clones, so it will be we want this feature to be for all of those bushes, not for first one, not for second one, but for all of them. So if the bush is touching the cat, then the bush should go forward one layer, and I want that in forever block. Because we have forever block here already, I think it will work. Yeah, you can see the change here, how it's fast. It's very, very funny. But it looks, sometimes it takes time. It's not working on the original. Why is that so? It works for the third clone, second clone, first clone, but not for the original. I hope you can understand why it's not working for the original, because the original sprite is here defined and code for it is here, and for the clone is here. Simple as that. So we have learned a couple of new things. We have learned about perspective, how things become bigger and smaller in perspective when they are closer or more far away from you. We have learned how to define that with new scratch block, one of the looks blocks. Go forward one layer, and if you want to learn more of it, you can go to Scratch Wikipedia layer or layer, and you can see how it's defined and how it works in Scratch. That's it for this video. I hope you have learned something new. Share your knowledge, share your everything you can with others, and that's it for this video. Bye for now.